Does anybody want to win 100 games around Major League
Mm.
Baseball this season? Just about 35 remain for most teams around the bigs. And as of this moment, the answer to my rhetorical question is not rhetorical. It's a no. We'll show you why, according to the odds makers. But DRS, that wasn't always the thought entering this year. The Dodgers were a minus 184 favorite to win at least 100 games. Their win total was 102 and a hook. The Braves, who won 104 games last year, minus 150 entering the year. The Astros have won 100 games in the last 3 years. In fact, in the last 5 full Major League Baseball seasons, DRS, we have seen at least 3 clubs around the bigs win 100 games in all 5 of those years. Now it looks like nobody is going to get to the century mark, and everybody will be coming up short.
Yeah, it looks that way. And also, before the season started, you probably look. It's hard to win 100 games. We understand that. But when you're putting out the level of talent like the Braves injuries to start the season and the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's hard even to look at that schedule. 162 games. I know you're not going to go game by game with wins, but you look at it, go like, are they ever going to be underdogs? When is the chance they're going to be underdogs? Like, you can lose 60 ball games and still hit 100 wins, which is kind of crazy to think about. But now, as you say it, nobody is probably going to get there because what? You need 24 wins out of the Dodgers, 26 wins out of the Phillies and the Yankees, and so forth. We don't know who's going to need those final wins in the regular parts of the season, but still, injuries are going to happen at this point. Usually to get 100 wins, you need to be on pace or above pace to get 100 wins. Not like, hey, coming down the back stretch, we're really going to blast through September with 17, 18, 19, 20 wins just in that 1 month alone in order to try to get close. I don't think anybody's getting there. But before the season, if you would have told me, Don, free battle of the Dodgers, did they get 100 wins? I probably would be like, yeah, I think they're going to get 100 wins.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely so. The Dodgers have won at least 100 games in the last 4 full Major League Baseball seasons. They have the most wins right now. They are 76 and 52. That's 128 games played. If I do my math correctly, carry the 34 games remain for the Dodgers. They would have to go 24 and 10 over those final 34 to get to the century mark. It is why right now they have the best chance with the updated outlook to get to 100-plus wins at a 3-1 price. But even the Dodgers having the shortest number is plus 300. The Phils were off to a historic start. The first time they had reached 50 games by a certain point in franchise history on June 18th. The Yankees were 51 and 22, well on pace to get to 100. Now it seems nobody will. What does that really mean, DRS, outside of a couple of lost win total tickets if you took the over on the Dodgers or the Braves? Does it mean that the very top of Major League Baseball has a lot of parity, which would create a chaotic October and MLB postseason? Perhaps.
I mean, maybe it does, but also when you're taking a look at the teams that we expected to be 100-win teams, because if you're being an analyst and looking at those teams, say, hey, the Dodgers are awesome. They got flatlined with their starting pitchers. You take a look at the Atlanta Braves, basically lost just about every good player for long stretches, if not for the season here. It's hard to overcome that and be the better team on a day-to-day basis. Maybe the one team that you could probably look at as the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm sure they lost JT Realmuto for a little bit, a couple guys on some minor stints on the IL, but maybe that was the team that once the season started and got on that historic pace that you figure would carry it through as long as they didn't have any real devastating injuries. Ranger Suarez was unbelievable to start the season. Now he's on the IL, but due to come back in short term. But for my money, the Dodgers and Braves clearly should have been those 100 marker teams, but then it should have probably been the Phillies after we saw that month of April into May. Like, wow, they're probably going to get there fairly easily. Now nobody is going to get there easily. So parity, yes, a little bit, but injuries probably a little bit more.
40 wins for the Phils by the end of May, 40 and 18. So the Dodgers right now, just in terms of the wins component and what it means for the postseason, the Dodgers have the best record in the National League, a full game up over the Phils. They have played 2 more games. They have 2 more wins, minus 145 to be that number 1 overall seed in the NL. The Yankees 74 and 53, a half game in front of the O's and the Guardians for the best record in the AL, minus 115 on New York. It is fascinating. The last time we did not see at least one club around MLB win 100 games, that was the 2014 Major League Baseball season. It seems we are destined to get to that point.
Yeah, it seems like that way, but also adds some excitement down the stretch here, BWS. Wildcard races
Yeah,
are tight.
certainly.
Parity is there. Nobody's running away. 4 teams that I keep telling you with legitimate chances to win, and maybe some of those teams from the NOS starting to creep in. And maybe I'm just hating on the Astros. If they wind up in the World Series again, boy, what a season it would be for your boy DRS. Burying a baseball team that might win a World Series, tough scene.
And DRS, even for the battle for the second best record in each league, to earn that opening round bye, that will be contested down the stretch. Hour 2 starts next on the early line. Our Major League Baseball insider and the host of Newswire each and every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, live right here on the SportsGrid. Craig Mish joins us on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. Craig, a historic day yesterday in Major League Baseball. We'll talk about Aaron Judge, his home run tracker, and the end of a career for one of the greats in Cincinnati in Joey Votto. So much to get to, Craig. We appreciate the time as always.
Yeah, of course. And I can't wait to get into Votto here because, I would have loved to see him play this season, but it does make some sense with what he did yesterday. And I think it's really nice that hopefully in 4 years from now, because again, he didn't play a Major League Baseball game, Ben, but hopefully 4 years from now that he's wearing that Cincinnati cap, and that's the only cap that he would obviously wear in the Hall of Fame.
That will be the question, Craig, as we touch them all. We hit every single bag today in the daily basis. Joey Votto officially calls it a career, and what a stellar one it was. Here's the career resume for one of the greats to do it for the Reds. 17 seasons, a 6-time Major League Baseball All-Star, the 2010 National League MVP, and as you see there, 356 career home runs. It is difficult, Craig, to impress the baseball writers necessary to get into Cooperstown, but when all is said and done, is Joey Votto going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Joey Votto is 100% going to be in the Hall of Fame. The only thing that we don't know is will he get in, Ben, on the first ballot? And I believe he will get in on the first ballot. And again, nothing against Joe Mauer at all, okay? But, I mean, if we're putting these two players up against each other and you had to pick one, who would you take? It would be Votto for me all day long. Look, in this day and age where on-base percentage means a lot, he's there. Hit a lot of home runs, drove in a lot of runs. If batting average is your thing, I mean, take a look at Votto's last 3 years. They were horrific. He still ended up with a batting average of .296 lifetime. There's nothing to talk about. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but, others will have to make that decision. My guess is, Ben, and again, remember, he didn't play a Major League game, so he doesn't have to wait 5 years. He has to wait 4 years, and I believe in 4 years he'll get somewhere between 77 to 80% and get in on the first try. I believe he'll be in there.
Yeah, Votto was always a fun player, too. Not only great on the field, but even when he would come to Philadelphia doing stuff like, catch a foul ball, fake like you're going to give it to a fan, throw it back onto the field. So he was always engaged and certainly very quirky, but also very cool at times as well. Major League Baseball here, Craig, as we take a look before the season, we're expecting maybe a few teams to reach that 100-win plateau. And I don't think we're going to get that now. Quite frankly, it would be an upset to get one of these Major League Baseball teams at 100 wins. As you take a look at the Dodgers, a plus 300 price, the Phillies at an 8-1 price, the Yankees at a 10-1 price, just to get to 100 wins. Is it parity, or is it basically one of those years where some of the top teams just a little bit injured and couldn't get to that century mark?
Yeah, Donnie, I think you said it best. There's been a lot of injuries in baseball. I definitely think that has happened. And we just don't see a ton of teams at the bottom also that are awful. I mean, look, the White Sox are going to lose 100 games, then maybe Miami and Colorado. But beyond that, a lot of the middle teams are the middle teams this season. There really hasn't been a huge disparity there. The Dodgers at this point definitely have the best shot to do it. They get the Rockies still for a few more. They get Miami for a few more. So the opportunity is still there for LA. But I think at the end of the season, we're going to look back, and someone will probably hit 97 or 98. But I don't think anybody hits 100.
128 games played for LA. They have the most wins with 76. They would need to go 24-10 over their final 34 games at bare minimum to get to 100 for a 5th consecutive full Major League Baseball season. The last year we did not have a single club win 100 games around the bigs. That was 2014, a decade ago. Craig, what a change we have seen in the odds to win the National League Rookie of the Year award. At times around the All-Star break, with Paul Skenes starting the game for the National League in Arlington, he was up to a minus 2,000, minus 4,000 favorite to win the National League Rookie of the Year. He is no longer the favorite. He is not in minus money. It is San Diego's Jackson Merrill at a minus 175 number. Craig, what do you think the biggest reason is for the large change atop the National League Rookie of the Year odds?
Yeah, look, and this has been the biggest shifting market, I think, of all the markets since the beginning of the season. None of those players, those top three, were even favored to win the Rookie of the Year. And then Imanaga very quickly was the favorite. Then Skenes was the favorite. Now Merrill is the favorite. So why has it gone from Merrill to Skenes? There's two different reasons. The first, let's talk about Skenes. The reason why is because Skenes very clearly has not been as good as he was when he first came up. Looks like he potentially is getting tired, not throwing 100 anymore. He's only throwing 98, 99, guys, right? Like, that's all he's throwing. But I think that the markets are smart and they realize that Skenes is running out of time. I think the Pirates very soon are going to shut him down, especially if they are out of it. And there is some talk Jared Jones comes back and Skenes stops. That could definitely be the case. The other part of this, why is Merrill the Rookie of the Year? It's not just his stats. Guys, he's got like the biggest hits of the season for the Padres. Yeah. He's come up in these big moments, grand slams, home runs, doubles to win the game. And I think that is why the pendulum has shifted toward Merrill. I don't think this is an open and shut case, but I think when we look back at Merrill's season, it's going to be his clutch hitting. I know they don't judge that anymore, but I think his clutch hitting has been huge for him.
Yeah, he injected a lot of life into that offense, and they're fun to watch. Now, yesterday it didn't work out in their favor, gave up a lot of runs to the Twins, but they're going to take on the New York Mets, who walked off as the winner yesterday, got on a plane flying out, 3,000 miles to the West Coast. Severino versus Cease tonight, a favorite for San Diego. Do the good times continue for the Mets, or is it a bounce-back spot for the Padres tonight?
Probably a close game, and this one you can almost guarantee that the Mets bullpen is going to have to come through tonight, because the odds to me of Severino throwing another 9-inning shutout or even pitching 9 innings like he did last week against Miami, slim to none. So this is probably a late bullpen situation type game. I would look toward the under in this one. Both pitchers get through 6-7, and the bullpens have been actually okay, especially the Padres bullpen with Hader in the back 9 there. So low-scoring game today in San Diego.
Luis Severino has been sensational, at least in his last start against Miami, a complete game, 4-hit shutout. But in his first 2 starts in August, 4 earned runs given up in each. Craig Mish, as always, we appreciate the time. We'll see you on Newswire at 11 a.m. Eastern time. See you tomorrow? Football season, Craig?
Football time.
College football?
Football time. How about
all right, well,
the Delaware
listen,
State
if we don't see you tomorrow.
Did they get there?
Delaware State, they were supposed to take off on their final flight last night. They should be good. Craig's fired up for the Hornets. More on the early line next. We now preview the game we just left you off with Craig Mish breaking down the Padres and the Mets. It's a lot of travel for New York. Yesterday, day baseball at Citi Field. They walk it off courtesy of Jesse Winker to take the rubber match and the set against the Baltimore Orioles. Now, the Mets only backed by a game and a half of Atlanta for the third and final NL wildcard spot. They travel cross-country to take on the Padres, who have been at home this week, had a chance to sweep the Twins yesterday, got hammered 11-4. Jackson Merrill did have a 2-run home run for the Padres as they tried to rally late, but they were down 10-0 after 5 innings. There was very little chance. San Diego and Dylan Cease, a home favorite today at minus 162 out in Southern California. Over under 7.5, and the under has the juice. Craig mentioned it. Last start for Luis Severino, who makes another one today for New York, was a complete game shutout of the Miami Marlins, only allowing 4 hits over the weekend. What do you expect, DRS, in this game tonight between the Padres and the Mets?
It's a perfect bounce-back spot for the Padres. Number one, they got hammered yesterday, so they're going to be on their P's and Q's tonight. Dylan Cease is the better pitcher on the mound over Severino, and also travel does come into this. Like sometimes we talk about in the NFL, hey, West Coast team coming East Coast, playing at 1 o'clock. It's a little bit earlier of a start. Well, you don't necessarily get that, but you get a 3,000-mile gap where you got to get on a plane and fly out there where the Padres are waiting on you. So better baseball team overall for the Padres, better pitcher on the mound, and also better flight schedule, I should say, for the San Diego Padres as opposed to the Mets coming out there. It seems to me like the Padres should have a nice bounce-back effort tonight. And again, walk away with the victory. I've been back, by the way, I've been back in the Mets here as of late. Just don't like them in this game tonight.
And it is a tough spot for New York. It's going to be a tough weekend series against San Diego because when you look at this game for the Mets, they're only back by a game and a half as of this moment of that third and final National League wild card spot. But to go up against the Padres, who, yes, lost yesterday to Minnesota, San Diego has still won 13 of its last 17 games and is still 22-7 since the All-Star break. It's a 4-game set that starts today that runs through the weekend out in Southern California. Rubber match today between two other teams in the National League East. If the Mets have a hard draw, they're rooting for the Phillies, which is not something you would often say for a New York baseball team. The Phils and the Braves today, the third and final game of the set in Atlanta. It's a virtual pick'em once again. Spencer Schwellenbach and the Braves, a very, very slight favorite against the Phils today. The over-under is 8. Who takes the rubber match? Who takes the series?
And that's interesting. This game is in Atlanta tonight, not in Philadelphia. The reason I bring that up is Christopher Sanchez is a really good pitcher here, but there are some question marks about where he pitches better at. And Citizens Bank Ballpark is not a great pitcher's ballpark. I understand it's on the road, but hear me out on this. If the game was in Philadelphia, you know the best pitcher analytically on the card would be today? Christopher Sanchez, a 2.18 ERA at home, an xFIP number of 2.63. That's through 86 and 2/3 innings pitched. Filthy at home. Now let's go on the road. So going from the top pitcher would drop him to the 12th pitcher here, Ben. A 5.53 ERA over 53 and 2/3 innings pitched and an xFIP of 4.24. Schwellenbach, who came up to the majors, a little bit of a rocky start, has really settled in as a quality starter. You're still looking at pedigree, right? The Phillies are the better team, and I keep saying it. You know, the Atlanta Braves, a AAA team basically thrown up there. The Phillies should win by default at this point. But if we are looking at that total, which is listed at 8, I don't know if we get 9 runs. I didn't think the game would go over yesterday, and it didn't. So if Sanchez has a decent performance, I don't trust those bats for Atlanta. And if Schwellenbach is decent, the bats for the Phillies haven't shown up basically in a month, it feels like at this point. So maybe the better bet would be to an under in this game.
These two teams will begin a 4-game weekend set against each other a week from today back in Philadelphia. That will end the season series between these divisional foes. To Donnie's point on Spencer Schwellenbach, his first 6 career starts this year gave up 20 earned runs. In his last 7, only 14 earned runs. He hasn't been stellar, but he has been better. Yesterday, a walk-off grand salami in the 10th. Off the bat of Nolan Arenado, St. Louis gets a win over Milwaukee. Day baseball under the arch today. The Cards, a home underdog against Freddie Peralta and Milwaukee. It's -120. Total is 8. What's the play?
Yeah, I'm going to take Milwaukee in this one. I just don't like Miles Michaelis on the mound. You're taking a look at him being at home today. Not a great, let me see his seasonal statistics. 60 and 2/3 innings pitched at home. 6.53 ERA. That's at home. That's ridiculous here. Give me the Milwaukee Brewers in this game. They should be able to beat up on the Cards.
Listen, an extra innings defeat yesterday snapped a 6-game win streak for Milwaukee, but the Brew Crew still an 11-game lead over St. Louis for that top spot in the National League Central. A prop perspective on a Thursday? The jack of all trades, Tom Vecchio, is here next. For as long as I have worked at the SportsGrid Network, for as long as I have hosted this morning show in whatever iteration it has been called, with whoever my co-host has been, there has been one consistent thing, and that's Tom Vecchio, the jack of all trades. But we used to introduce him as something else. Now we introduce him with a jacket on as SportsGrid's Tom Vecchio. Vecchio, we are very pleased to welcome you to the Spiz. That's good, DRS. We are very pleased to welcome you to the SportsGrid Network. You are going to be doing some great work all across the SportsGrid Network, all football season long, taking that great prop perspective in all of your intellect to the SportsGrid viewers. Glad to have you here as an official part of the SportsGrid Network. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you for that introduction. Not that I haven't been here before, but yeah, it's official. Right. I am joining SportsGrid for the NFL season. You'll see me on Monday and Thursday nights for pregame, halftime, and postgame, and then on Sunday nights for postgame, of course, making plenty of appearances on however many other shows. It's great to be here. We got a lot to get to today specifically, so let's just kind of keep things normal and we'll get to it.
Sounds good, Vecchio. Sounds like a plan to me. The surest sign of a new SportsGrid employee is a sports jacket over a T-shirt. You might have omerta, and you might have the cutting of the hands in certain cultures. For us, it's donning a
Sorting
sports
gun.
jacket on. Oh, that's good. We're a couple of Sopranos guys right here. 1, 2, and 3. All right, Vecchio, let's dive right in to what you are great at, your prop perspective. You've been featuring some season-long looks all summer long, getting ready for a new NFL campaign. The focus today is one that Donnie is going to like. Way to suck up to your new coworkers. We focus on Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. What's the play?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts over 21.5 passing touchdowns, sitting at -118. That's on FanDuel. It's at 22.5 with a little bit of plus money on DraftKings, of course. Always shop for the best line. So I always like bringing in the other betting markets, and we try and find some correlation. So he's plus 1,400 for MVP. That's the fifth shortest odds. Philly, 1,300 to win the Super Bowl, fifth shortest odds. And they're plus 550 to win the NFC, which is the third shortest odds. So, like, they are in the mix to be one of the best teams, and he's in the conversation to be an MVP. So when we're looking at that, like a quarterback who's in that realm, if they finish with 20 or 19 touchdowns, like that means the market was completely wrong on them. So if we're using those other correlations, we can try and build that in. Not only that, but they've still one of the best offensive lines in the league. They have either the 8th or the 9th easiest strength of schedule, depending on where you look. And, regardless of how they ended the season last year, he's surrounded by a ton of talent. Brown, Smith, Dallas Goedert, bringing in Saquon Barkley. That is a very good offense. So I don't care this recency bias that some people have saying, oh, last year they finished 1-8, 1-7, wherever their record was, giving up all these points. The offense is ready to fire on all cylinders. I don't care what the coaching has to say, as Sirianni say, off the field. Like, this is an awesome offense. And if they're going to be one of the best in the league based on the other betting markets, I'm going to be taking Jalen Hurts time and time again.
And that offense will be unveiled here in Brazil, going up against the Green Bay Packers on a Friday night. So some good times all the way around. But we do have a doubleheader tonight in the NFL for the final week of the preseason. Indianapolis and Cincinnati is an interesting one tonight, Tom. The FanDuel Sportsbook posted the opening number at -2.5 as a favorite towards the Colts. That's now ballooned to 6.5 because it looks like the Colts will be playing some starters, a total that's currently listed at 34.5. Any looks on tonight's game between the Colts and the Bengals?
I actually don't mind the Colts in this one, and obviously the number has moved significantly. I wouldn't mind looking to take the Colts live, especially if that number drops to 3.5 or 4.5. And part of that is because the Colts are going to be playing their starters into the second quarter somewhat. Anthony Richardson only played one game, and he was 2 of 4 in that game. And there were some reports in their joint practice with the Bengals this past week that the Colts offense looked out of sorts, and the Bengals defense was like talking trash, and like they're really finding their groove, and the Colts are not. So based on Anthony Richardson being hurt last year, missing a bunch of games, and the fact he only threw 4 passes so far, like they need him out there. They need to get in the rhythm in this last game. Yeah. So they have to get the offense going. They have to push the ball downfield, and that has me at least somewhat interested in the Colts.
Colts also in the first half, a 3.5-point favorite. First half total for the game is 17 and a hook. Could take that component of it if you just want to look at Indy and the best and brightest out there. We do not expect to see a ton of starters, Vecchio, maybe any starters in the second game of the doubleheader on this Thursday inside Arrowhead, the Chiefs and the Bears. No Caleb Williams for Chicago, no Patrick Mahomes for KC. The Bears, an ever so slight favorite of 1.5. The total is at 32 and a hook. What's your breakdown for this second of 2 games on a Thursday night?
Well, it's a bit jarring to see the Chiefs at plus money as a home underdog, which I don't think is we saw them at that point ever in however many recent years. But if we're going to be seeing no starters, it's really it's tough to trust anyone when it comes to this game overall. If you want to lay with the Bears just because they've been rolling and they at least have Tyson Bagent might be out there for a little bit. They at least have some competency in quarterback. I doubt the Chiefs are going to start Carson Wentz. They want to at least protect him in some capacity. So you could roll with the Bears just because they've been hot in the preseason so far. But other than that, this game is to see who's going to be making the roster and using that from a fantasy perspective going forward.
Going forward, something that we're going to talk about with Paul Skenes, how much longer forward will he be going into the month of September? But we know he's going to be on the mound tonight, Tom. 9:55, 9:56 on the rotation. That's the Reds and the Pirates. Lodolo Skenes, favorite towards Pittsburgh at a -144 price and a total of 7.5. Skenes, does he dominate tonight, and what do we like?
I actually think he does dominate tonight. I like over 7.5 strikeouts. I'd say a -112. The Pirates, as Craig Mish said in a couple segments ago, like they're kind of running out of time, and this might be one of Paul Skenes' last chances to really show that he does deserve, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, whatever it might be. He's got an awesome, 31% strikeout rate. So over 7.5. Reds coming with their current active roster versus righties with 24.7% strikeout versus righties. That's the sixth worst in the league. So I expect him to be out there. I expect him to pile up the strikeouts. Again, he needs this start to kind of solidify himself in both the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year market. So give him one or two more good starts and then maybe ease him back as the season comes to a close.
In his 5 starts since the All-Star break, and of course where he started the All-Star game for the NL, at most, only 8 Ks for Skenes. The horror, he has gone under 7.5 Ks in 3 of the last 4 for Pittsburgh. You mentioned the NL Rookie of the Year odds, Tom. We have seen a huge change atop this market. Skenes at points was close to a minus 5,000 favorite to run away with this award. At the All-Star break, I said they should start taking the chisel out and put Skenes' name on the trophy. Now it's San Diego's Jackson Merrill, a minus 175 favorite. What has led to this change at the top?
Well, he's been awesome. It's also the fact that the Padres are playing in important games and he's playing a big role in those games. He's having those big hits. So I can understand why things shifted so dramatically. And if the Pirates were more in the mix for the wild card or the division and Skenes was still out there dominating for 8-9 strikeouts every time, I think he would still be the favorite. But that's not the case anymore. So, if you were able to get on Jackson Merrill early in the season, congrats. But that ship has sailed right now. So I think Jackson Merrill will end up winning just because Skenes is going to be eased back when it comes to the innings. And that's going to decrease his efficiency overall.
Talking about Jackson Merrill, his team is going to play tonight against the New York Mets, sort of a wild card battle, if you will. Minus 162 favorite for the Padres and a total listed at 7.5. Are we going with any Jackson Merrill props tonight in this game?
Yeah, let's keep it rolling with him for 2+ total bases at plus 100. He's awesome in this split versus righties going up against Luis Severino. He's got a 148 WRC plus versus righties. It's only a 70 WRC plus versus lefties. So this is the split to be targeting. Severino, 407 slugging allowed to lefties. Not worried about this all. Let's roll with Merrill.
Let's also go to another game today around Major League Baseball to finish out the prop perspective for this Thursday. Vecchio, what's the final bet that we have on your first day officially as a SportsGrid employee?
Yeah, let's roll with Gavin Williams over 15.5 outs. It's sitting at plus 146, so there's a good bit of plus money here. He's a solid pitcher overall, doesn't get hit too hard, doesn't have a massive strikeout rate, but he can control things. The Guardians, also, their bullpen was a bit taxed, not only yesterday so much, but the 12-inning game. They also are playing every day from now until next Thursday and have a doubleheader on Monday, so they need their pitchers to go deeper into the games to kind of save things for their bullpen.
It's the rubber match inside Yankee Stadium. Garrett Cole gets the start for New York. Gavin Williams on the other side for Cleveland. That insight from SportsGrid. Tom Vecchio. Tom, as always, thank you. More on the early line next. Another historic day in Major League Baseball. It is Skenes Day 17. That's XVII for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His 17th career start of his rookie season. But some of the history, Donnie, is starting to fall just a little bit flat. There's not as much enthusiasm behind Paul Skenes on the mound as there was early this year. And we are seeing that reflected in the National League Rookie of the Year odds. Skenes gets the start today for the Buccos at home inside PNC Park. They're listed as a minus 144 favorite against the Reds, total of 7.5. What do you expect out of Paul Skenes in Pittsburgh today?
I expect a good performance out of Paul Skenes, and also the question mark is not going to come from Skenes for me, whether or not we get a solid performance. I think we do. The question is going to be on Nick Lodolo, the left-handed pitcher here for the Cincinnati Reds. The one thing as a left-handed pitcher typically will struggle with is against right-handed batters. He's going to face a ton of right-handed batters tonight, but also when you're looking at the lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates up against left-handed pitching over the past 30 days, it's really not all that great. So when you're saying to yourself, which way you're going to play this game for me, as opposed to a side, which I do think Pittsburgh probably wins because Skenes is the better pitcher, but I think the under might make even a little bit more sense here. Skenes has a good night. Lodolo keeps him a little bit off tap, and maybe get one of those games that winds up at 4-2, 4-3, somewhere in that range. So I do think the Pittsburgh Pirates win, but I'm more comfortable with the under. I think both of these pitchers can have a decent performance tonight.
And again, what is so fascinating about this is Paul Skenes has made 5 starts since starting for the National League in the All-Star game. It's not like he has become a gas can. He has still been pretty good. Yes, he did allow 4 earned runs in a game against the Dodgers a couple of weekends ago, but outside of giving up those 4 earned, he's been pretty darn good. He's still 7-2 with a 2.30 ERA, which would be the best in baseball if you were to meet the inning requirement. That is not the case at this moment. But, Donnie, it is fascinating, and it's something you warned about from the very start, whether it was the NL Cy Young conversation around Skenes or even the hefty minus money prices on Skenes as an odds-on favorite to win the National League Rookie of the Year award. If Pittsburgh was out of playoff contention, which they have been struggling here in the second half, Paul Skenes' number to win award hardware would grow longer. He is no longer the favorite to win the National League Rookie of the Year award. It's San Diego's Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, and it should be that way because you're taking a look at Paul Skenes, and unfair as it may be, he came on the scene as a whirlwind. But as we talked about pitchers that have been playing the entire season or pitching the entire season, same things with players, you have to be perfect every single night. And if you give up 3 runs one night, you probably can't be the Cy Young Award winner, fair or foul. And also, in order to win the Cy Young, you must pitch all the way through September, and people want to see you in high leverage situations like Pittsburgh must win tonight to keep that 1-game lead in the wild card. Now they're 8 games back, I believe, in the wild card. That's going up in smoke at this point. And also, from a business standpoint, Pittsburgh saying whether or not this guy wins the Cy Young or not this year isn't going to change anything with them making the playoffs. They need this guy healthy down the line. Extra innings in September doesn't make much sense. And also, as we talk about with Merrill, he's playing in a big game environment on a night-to-night basis and performing very, very well. That gets you those added points there when you're looking to win Rookie of the Year. So I don't have any issues with this year. If we had, and also, keep in mind with Skenes, Ben, we saw this guy in legitimate 2 chances to throw a no-hitter and like, you know what, pull him out of the game. So apparently the Pittsburgh Pirates don't care if he wins the Cy Young or Rookie of the Year. Otherwise, they would have let him get no-hitters.
8 games below 500, 59 and 67 for Pittsburgh. Their focus for Skenes and their organization is not on making a playoff run late here in 2024. It's 2025 and beyond. Pittsburgh actually got off to a decent start following the All-Star break at their peak. 55 and 52 in playoff contention in the wild card chase in the NL. From that point, they have been 4 and 15. Games number 961, 962 on the rotation. That's up in the Bronx. The Yankees taking it.
Let me find it. Let me find it. Where's that? All right.
You know, I was just talking with Friezo. We love when you give out the rotation numbers.
And
so we thought we'd give it back to you.
Number. So congratulations.
No way, Joe. Joe gave me bad
What did you just
numbers.
say? What did you just say? What number did you say?
961, 962. Yankees Guardians.
959, 960. I got to. Oh, hold on. No. You're right. My bad. I had the time schedule wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, 61, 62. You're good.
Come on now.
I don't have it in the I have an order of time as opposed to game, so you got it. Yep, that is it.
Okay. All right, good. So now that we are squared away, 961, 962 on the rotation today. It's the Yankees as a minus 178 home favorite in the rubber match against the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians victorious in 12 innings in the longest game of this MLB season on Tuesday. The Yankees, led by Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, respond yesterday to even up the set. Who takes the rubber match with some day baseball up in the Bronx?
Yeah, I think, look, it's a high price here right now. And again, we're not getting that Garrett Cole that's the best pitcher on the planet right now, working his way back, but he's still a better pitcher than what you're going to get out of Gavin Williams. And also taking a look at the lineup, Soto and Judge hammering right-handed pitching. Austin Wells doing well. Giancarlo Stanton doing well. Volpe, even Oswaldo Cabrera has some good statistics here against right-handed pitching over the past month. I do think the Yanks get it together. RBI chances, of course, Soto and Judge. The only issue with that sometimes that you come up with, sooner or later, other managers catch on as well and be like, you know what? I'm not pitching this guy. Runner on third base, put that guy on first base here. So if you're looking for legitimate RBI opportunities, maybe the best one, Austin Wells, because we expect Soto and Judge to be on base and maybe getting free passes. Austin Wells has to pick it up. That's where I'd look today as sort of a contrarian RBI look.
Aaron Judge, even money, plus 100 to record a ribby. He's got 18 in August. He had 3 yesterday. Juan Soto had 5 RBIs yesterday, plus 150 for an RBI. Aaron Judge, who hit his 46th and 47th home run last night against Cleveland, plus 220 to hit a long ball today. Will the Orioles bounce back at home against a really good Houston team? What a matchup this is. A postseason preview, perhaps. Corbin Burnes and the O's. A home favorite today in Camden against the Astros. Corbin Burnes gets the start.
Yeah, we'll take the under 8. I don't think we get the 9 runs tonight. Corbin Burnes at home this season, 2.91 ERA, xFIP 3.22 through 77 and a third innings pitched. Playoff type atmosphere today in Baltimore. Let's go under.
Both teams lost their midweek set. Houston to the Red Sox, dropping the final two. Baltimore the first and the final against the New York Mets. The O's, unlike Houston, who has been playing really good baseball in August, the Astros 12-6. The Orioles just 9-8 or 8-9 at this moment. DRS, enjoy the money line. We'll talk tomorrow on a Football Friday, but not before the early line ends out on this Thursday.